Did you like my new introduction? I certainly did, but the episode I'm reviewing really blows. I can't imagine what they were thinking when they made this. I remember watching this episode before it actually aired on television. Yeah, remember when Blockbuster was still in existence? This episode was available to be rented on DVD a few weeks before it aired. I found it quite amusing to hear a friend talk about the episode just coming out, while I watched it a few weeks ago. I can't believe Johnny Depp played a parody of himself in this episode. He was probably paid minimum wage. The episode starts with a slow scene at the Krusty Krab. I get it, it's a really hot day and there are no customers. Mr. Krabs says to bring the Krusty Krab to the beach. That reminds me of another episode I know, but at least that episode was good. There's something wrong here. Why did they decide to sell their food in the ocean? Anyone who's in the ocean, whether they decide to swim or surf the waves, are unlikely to carry money with them. Also, isn't it common knowledge that you should have an empty stomach while you're in a body of water? Wait, I just realized something. How's there an ocean within the ocean they're living in? Maybe it's heavy water, you know, that isotope of regular water. Patrick suddenly appears out of nowhere and messes everything up. Thanks for giving this episode a plot. Without you, this episode would have not existed. All of our characters got separated with the exception of Patrick, Squidward, and SpongeBob because the episode demanded so. I think that this episode would have been better if SpongeBob and Sandy were together, and Mr. Krabs and Squidward were together, and Patrick was alone. You can never expect anything good when SpongeBob and Patrick are with Squidward. Every once in a while, by every once in a while I mean every 2 or so minutes, this episode shows what is going on with Mr. Krabs and Sandy, each with their separate scenes. They have no purpose to this episode whatsoever. SpongeBob and the gang get washed up on the shore of an island and are met by some other fish folk. The only way they can return to Bikini Bottom is to surf back there. Apparently they don't know how to surf. I appreciate some consistency because I remember seeing SpongeBob surf in a different episode. The fish folk offers to teach them how to surf, and SpongeBob and Patrick mess up. Well, we saw SpongeBob and Patrick try to surf. Where's Squidward?
Well, dudes, I give up.
What?
These ho-dads are impossible to teach. Especially the one on the end over there.
But we didn't see Squidward surf. Do the writers think that it's funny to make Squidward feel bad? The fish folk then suggest SpongeBob and the gang that there's another person called JKL who can teach him how to surf. However, no one knows where he is. So now they, wait. The episode just cuts off to Sandy. Just note that I'm not showing every scene that involves Sandy and Mr. Krabs. SpongeBob and the gang finds Kahamoku Cove, which happens to have a sign that shows where it is.
Oh, don't worry, Squidward. He'll be here.
You've never even seen him!
You have got to stop judging people by the way they look.
You'll see this kind of stuff all the time in modern SpongeBob. At least it's not as bad as this other face he made. Sorry I had to show you that. They find JKL and watch him surf. Squidward has to remain skeptical of his teachings because the writers want us to think Squidward is unteachable. After a long while, and by long while I mean about 4.5 minutes, the story finally gets a move on and a great storm rolls in. JKL says that every 1,000 years or so, the planets align in such a way that a perfect wave is formed, called the Big One. Hence, the name of the episode. That's a little unexpected. You'd probably expect an episode called SpongeBob vs. the Big One to be different than SpongeBob surfing a wave back to Bikini Bottom, called the Big One. Mark the words JKL says in this scene.
I guess this is goodbye.
Wait, there's something I forgot to tell you. In return for its awesomeness, the Big One always demands a sacrifice. The one of you will not return.
One will not return, says he. As SpongeBob and the gang encounter the Big One, they spot Mr. Krabs in his cash register. He doesn't make it, unfortunately. But wait, JKL saves Mr. Krabs in his cash register. Everyone applauds, and when Mr. Krabs tries to do so, he lets go of it. Let's pause right there for a moment. Have you ever dropped something when trying to applaud? You'd think Mr. Krabs would try placing it down before clapping his hands.
Little dude, I was born to do this.
What ridicule! No one would risk their life to save a cash register. I guess this means that JKL is the one to be sacrificed for the wave. Or the big one. I'm trying my best to comment on this, but so far I've got nothing to say. So Sandy arrives at Goo Lagoon and thinks that SpongeBob and the gang are gone, but look at that. They arrive at Goo Lagoon and within a couple of seconds, everyone at the beach, including Sandy, organizes a welcome back party. But wait, guess what happens next? JKL arrives at Goo Lagoon along with Mr. Krabs' cash register. No! You can't do that! You liar! You said that no one will not return, and even Mr. Krabs' cash register made it out alive. Look at JKL spinning his arms in the background. What kind of dance move is that? Overall, this episode is not very good. I've seen a lot of episodes worse than this, but the problem is that this is a special 22-minute episode that was heavily advertised near its air date. I can come up with another special episode that was heavily advertised that's even worse than this. Would I dare tell the truth of how bad this unfortunate episode is? Maybe someday. Oh, and if you're one of my subscribers watching this, you may be wondering what happened to my YouTube review. I took it down because I didn't like it very much and it wasn't getting enough views skis. Thanks for watching.